Hello everyone, and thanks for clicking on the video. This is a project I've worked really hard on, so I'd love your feedback. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve future videos, please let me know in the comments below. In this video, I'll be breaking down the last of the story, walking you through each chapter and explaining important moments, characters, and details along the way. I hope you enjoy it, and hopefully by the end of the video, I have earned your subscription. More videos are coming soon, and again, I appreciate you clicking on this. Thank you. The game begins in Austin, Texas. We see a little girl laying down on a couch. Her name is Sarah. Her father, who walks in, is Joel. Today was Joel's birthday, hence why Sarah stayed up. She got him a present, of course, because, Sarah is just the GOAT. The present was a watch, and for the rest of the game, you'll see Joel wearing the watch. It's a great callback to his amazing daughter. Sarah woke up from her sleep and tries to look for her dad, so of course she goes to his room. The TV's still on, meaning he was just here. Sarah, now panicked from the explosion, decides to run downstairs and look for her dad. We see Joel panicked. Running in, he closes the door. He tells Sarah to stay back. He starts grabbing his gun, saying, "Mr. Cooper, their neighbor, is crazy." Mr. Cooper, now freaking out, smashing against the glass, covered in blood, growling like an animal, charges Joel and Sarah. Joel shoots him. Thankfully, the Chad himself, Tommy, pulls up. Tommy is Joel's brother. Their plan now is to leave Austin. As they pull up to the road, they realize the traffic is crazy. Hundreds of cars packed together. A man gets out of his car to see what's going on, and he is brutally mauled by infected that were treated at the hospital. When Tommy and Joel witness that, they know they have to leave. They just got into an accident. Sadly, Sarah broke her leg, so now Joel has to carry her. They were forced to run through the streets, but they were infected everywhere, so they had to cut through an alleyway. Now Joel and Tommy are getting jumped by infected. Tommy tells Joel to run. As they were being chased by infected, a soldier saved their lives, but he was now given an order to shoot. Tommy shows up and kills the soldier, but it's too late. Sarah was hit in the chest. She bled out in Joel's arms. Everything that Joel loves is dead. The game jumps forward 20 years. We're now Joel in a quarantine zone that's run by Fedra. We're with our friend Tess. We're both smugglers now. But I think before we move on, I should explain who Joel is. Before the outbreak, we know that Joel was a construction worker. But after, we know him as a killer. He did anything to survive, whether we're setting up ambushes with his brother or raiding camps. As of current, we know that he is a smuggler and is working with Tess. Tess and Joel have some of their affairs to settle with their smuggling business, but before they can leave the quarantine zone, the Fireflies ambush Fedra. Tess and Joel sadly have to take the scenic route now that Fedra has closed down the quarantine zone. They are now in an area filled with spores, hence why they have to wear gas masks. They run into a survivor whose gas mask is broken, so of course I pop him in the head for the love of the game. And this is where we run into our first infected in the game. And on the wall there, you can actually see the spores growing onto the wall, which I think is very cool and very gross. You see a survivor there walking. But yeah, I gotta say, the infected in this game are so freaky, man. It surprised me my first playthrough fighting these bastards. But of course, we take him out, getting a better view of his face. You can see the veins popping out of it. And then we pull out our assault rifle and gun those bastards down. It's important to mention now that we're looking for a guy named Robert. He has our gun shipment. And those guns we smuggle to other people to make a profit. And Robert right now is hiding from us. So this is what this whole first section is about. Us looking for Robert. Long story short, we run into some of his goons. Tess gets pissed off and shoots him in the head. Or one of them in the head. And of course, like the big man we are, we're just gonna sneak up and we're gonna deal with the other guys. And I gotta say, the fighting in the game against like the human enemies is so visceral. Like just the gore is so crazy. But yeah, we deal with them and now we continue forward. We run into more of Robert's goons and we take him out like usual. It's just so fun fighting these guys. I mean, you really get to see Joel's character just beating the shit out of these guys. We eventually make it to the docks, and we finally see Robert. This is the man we want. This is the little rat that we're trying to find. And of course, we have to kill his guys. After we kill his guys, we find him. He shoots at us, threatens us, tells us to go after ourselves, the usual shit. Then he throws his gun for whatever reason. He's an idiot. Truly a stupid person. I just can't believe it. And then we have to chase him down. Eventually we catch up to Robert, and we start to interrogate him. Eventually, the little weasel he is, he tells us that he sold our guns to the Fireflies. And as you know, the Fireflies are currently at a civil war, I'd say, with Fedra. And of course, we're pissed because those were our guns. We paid for them fair and square, and he ripped us off. After interrogating Robert, Tess shoots him in the head, which of course is the right thing to do. No one likes Robert. We run into this lady. Her name is Marlene. Marlene is the leader of the Fireflies. And as we already know, the Fireflies have our guns. So to get our guns back, we agree to smuggle something for her. That being said, she doesn't tell us what we're smuggling. But we agree to it. Because of course we do. Traveling with Marlene means we're probably going to do some fighting, and we do. We find some Fedra soldiers, just patrolling, doing their job, and we kill them. We kill them all. Eventually we get to where we need to be going. Marlene collapses on the floor because she's shot. Then, we almost get stabbed. This is Ellie, and she is what we're smuggling. We don't know why yet, but she is who we're going to be smuggling. Marlene tells us that she wishes she could do it, but she's not in the right condition to do it, which fair enough, I guess. She was shot. And of course, all her other assets are dead. Probably. I'm assuming. Joel and Ellie get to a safe house to wait till nightfall. The reason we're waiting till night is because there's less Fedra patrols. We're leaving the quarantine zone, right? And Fedra, if you're outside the quarantine zone, will kill you on sight. But before we leave the quarantine zone, I think it's good to talk about who Ellie is. Ellie was born after the outbreak. She is only 14 years old as the game takes place. Before she was with the Fireflies, she was in a Fedra military school. The reason she ended up with the Fireflies is because they found out something is different about her, and if the Fedra found out about it, they would kill her. I'll explain more a little later. As we're traversing the outskirts of the Fedra military zone, we are ambushed by Fedra. I think now is a great time to explain who Fedra is. Fedra stands for Federal Disaster Response Agency. They took control after the outbreak to keep order. They're what remain of the government of the military. They run the quarantine zones and they rule through martial law. They use soldiers to enforce rules and curfews, and of course the executions. And they'll execute people who test positive for the cordyceps virus, and also people who don't follow the rules, like not returning home during curfew. They care about control. That's their whole point. And as you can see here, our group are being tested for the cordyceps virus. And in theory, test Joel and Ellie, if they were taken back to the quarantine zone, they'd all be executed. But as you can see, Ellie fights back. And Joel, being the badass, he steps up and takes care of him. And Tess, of course. And now you can see why Ellie fought back. She tested positive for the cordyceps brain infection. And what that means is that she is infected, therefore she will turn into infected, or so we think. Ellie is actually immune. And that is why Marlene took her into the Fireflies. Because the Fireflies believe they can save humanity with her. This is, again, why Ellie had to escape from Fedra, because if Fedra found out about this bite, they would have killed her. And now the backup arrives, so we gotta get going. We have to make our way through the streets of Boston, now hunted down by Fedra soldiers. Now, of course you can go through this part guns blazing, which is definitely the more fun option, but if you care about your bullets and not being mag dumped by an entire platoon of soldiers, you can just sneak by them easily. I mean, you don't even have to throw a bottle or anything, you can just kind of walk by. They're pretty stupid. Finally, we escape Fedra. Now we have a dilemma though. Joel wants to head back to the quarantine zone because he thinks Ellie's infected and she's a lost cause. But Tess wants to finish the job and get our guns back because that's how we make a living in the apocalypse. And so we continue our way to the Capitol building. And the Capitol building is where the Fireflies are to take Ellie off her hands. Of course it won't be easy though. We have to make our way through a collapsed building full of mutilated Fedra soldiers. And who could have done that? Well, we're going to see very soon. As we make our way through the building, we see some bad signs. A dead infected growing on a door. And this is one of the main ways this infection spreads. Through the spores. So we rip it off and we continue our way ahead like nothing happened. Continuing our way through the building, we have to go through many doors, which is just playing Russian roulette, and you'll see in a second. We make our way through, but Joel being the most unlucky person ever, we get jumped on by an infected. Now this infected looks grotesque, with things growing out of it. And now is the right time to talk about what the cordyceps brain infection is. The cordyceps fungus actually already exists in the world, like, as we speak. In real life, that's right. IRL, the cordyceps exists. But it only affects bugs and insects, like ants and spiders. Now, in the Last of Us universe, it evolved from ants. And basically, the cordyceps just hijacks the human brain and turns people into violent hosts, spreading itself through bites, spores, and blood. But there are also many stages of this infection that I'll be going over right now. Stage 1. Runners. These are recently infected, so hours to days really. They still look human, they have black veins all over their body, and they're extremely aggressive and loud. Stage 2. Stalkers. These infected have been around for weeks to months. Now as you can see, there's fungus actually sprouting from their bodies. They actually have more strategy to how they attack. They hunt in groups and hide and ambush their targets. Stage 3. The clicker. This infected has been around for a year or so. Fungus has fully grown over their eyes, meaning they are blind. They use echolocation to find their prey. They're very strong, incredibly strong, meaning that if Joel's caught by them, it's an instant death. Stage 4 are the bloaters. These infected have been around for many years. Their body is covered in thick fungal armor, meaning it is very hard to take them down. They're extremely strong, and again, an insta-kill. They can throw spore bombs, meaning they rip the spores you see off their bodies and they throw it. They're also blind, and they use echolocation. After escaping the building and fighting a crap ton of infected, we find ourselves in a museum. And of course, knowing our terrible luck, we get separated. And it's bad, actually. We hear the girls get attacked by infected. So now we have to rush in and help them. We find Tess getting attacked, but she's a badass, so she deals with the infected. And then we hear Ellie screaming, so we rush in. And this part, you can really see how deadly the infected are when they rush you like a gang, because they're pathetic, not accepting fair 1v1s, little babies, but we deal with them. After dealing with the infected, we escape the building. And look at that view. That's where the Capitol building is, and we're so close. We made it to the Capitol building, but it's bad. All the fireflies were shot dead by Fedra. And it's weird, we see Tess panic. Joel is like, oh, let's just give up now, okay? Let's just head back, let's leave Ellie here. Because I'm a douchebag, and I'm grumpy. Rah! And I gotta agree with Tess on this one. They did all this. They killed soldiers, they killed a lot of infected. But the true reason why Tess is doing this is because she was bit. Tess was bit in the museum. That is why she does not want to give up. She wants to hope that Ellie is immune. Because when you look at Ellie's bite compared to hers, I mean, it's proof. Her fresh bite is bleeding, and the veins start to spread, which is the cordyceps fungus making its way through its body. And when you look at Ellie's, as you can see right now, it's dry. It's like scabbed over. Joel accepts what Tess says because they get jumped by Fedra right about now. Tess sacrifices her life for us to give us time to run, but I don't run. And so I gunned down the Fedra soldiers because I love Tess, and also Joel with an M16 is just so fun. And it's good to tell you, I'm playing with the add-ons on. It's just so fun running around with an M16, as Joel, of course. And so yeah, we fight our way through the rest of the building. I could have cut out this part, but I just wanted to show you more fighting. The gunplay rather in this game is phenomenal, and yeah. It also just shows just Joel being a badass, and I love Joel. Probably my favorite video game protagonist. Or one of them, really. And man, if you guys finished Last of Us, play it with add-ons. They're so fun. We make it into a subway that's infested with spores. That's why we have our gas mask on, because again, breathing the spores will turn you into infected. And we see Ellie breathing them in without coughing. And this kind of cements Joel with the idea that, holy crap, she is actually immune. But of course, Fedra magically appears down here, and we have to dispatch them. After we escape the subway, Joel talks to Ellie. And in this part, you see Joel as kind of a volatile person. But I can't blame him. I mean, his whole life was turned over. He lost his really only friend, and I'd argue lover as well. And basically he tells Ellie just listen to him. And it's also important for now on, for the next part of the story, or the next chapter at least, they are headed to a guy named Bill. Bill is a smuggler buddy of Joel, and Joel believes that Bill can get him a car because they need to get to Wyoming to find Joel's brother Tommy. I'll explain it a little bit later. We make it to Bill's town, and it's booby-trapped because Bill is kind of crazy, to be honest with you. But I love Bill. He's a great character. As we walk through a door, we get caught into one of Bill's little traps. Bill is very paranoid, and this is the price we pay for coming to see him. The infected get can't have anything nice. We get jumped by infected. We fight back as hard as thankfully we can. Joel is just him. And then our hero appears. Bill himself, decapitating that zombie. Now that we're in a somewhat safe area with Bill, well, actually, scratch that. No area with Bill is safe because he's kind of crazy. He locks Ellie to a pipe, it appears, and is being really paranoid right now, asking us why we're here and all that. But eventually, we're able to calm him down. Because Bill owed us favors, he knows where there could be parts for a car. All we have to do is fight through some infected and go through the other side of his church, where he lives. As we make it through the church, we see where we need to go. The old Lincoln High School. A military convoy crashed into it, and in the military convoy, there is a part to a car that we need to get the hell out of here. Heading through the cemetery, we fight through many clickers, and this is because Bill has never been to this side of town. He stays clear of it, so there will be a lot of infected we need to fight to get to that military convoy. As we continue our way to the high school, we find so many infected, and this part of the game is the first time we really fight such large groups of infected. Especially clickers. Again, clickers are one-shot kills unless you have shivs. They're just so gross looking too. But thankfully, the M16 is for the win, baby. We finally make it to the outer edges of the school, and we have a lot more infected to fight through. And this area in particular, you can see how the world fell so fast. When the infected jump use a group, especially runners, they're just most dangerous, right? Because clickers, they kind of stumble their way forward, and eventually you can hide from them. But runners are just pure rage and animalistic. Just buggers. They truly are the worst. And probably they are my least favorite enemy to fight, because they're just so aggressive. As we get closer to the military convoy, we're jumped by even more infected. And you can really tell that Bill has not been to this side of the town because of all the infected. And it's just cool storytelling. Like, Bill verbally tells us that he doesn't come to this side of town And it's cool seeing so many more uh, enemies and clickers and all of them. And then we're jumped by clicker, but because Bill is just a W, he shoots the hell out of it. We finally made it to the crashed vehicle, and we find out that the parts have been taken, and so now we gotta book it as the infected have just piled up. After fighting through the school of infected, we finally lose them a little bit. But do not worry, it's not over yet. In fact, this is the first moment we meet a bloater. And wow, they're intimidating. But because I have add-ons on, the M16 will just shred through the bastard. Yeah, he's dead. Usually a lot more harder to fight. But gosh, they're so intimidating. After escaping the infected, we make it into a home. We find out that the person who took the car parts was Frank. And the reason I didn't explain who Frank was is because he's not important to the video game. Frank was Bill's friend, and we found him dead. And really, the whole story of it, Frank wanted to leave the town because Bill was just not leaving, and Bill is just not a nice dude either. But yeah, we found Frank and we found the car. And I would have jumped into more detail about Bill and Frank, but I think that's one of the main issues of this game is that these side characters, we don't know a lot about them. We don't know a lot about Tess. We barely know anything about Joel and Ellie, so it was really hard even finding information on them. Because the car is old, it needs help getting started up, so we have to push it down the hill. Because again, Joel isn't allowed anything nice. But as we do it, we are jumped by infected, and my slow brain didn't realize it until, I got slapped. But the shotgun makes quick work of them, and yeah, we're on our way. We finally make it through the infected part of town, and Bill tells us to get the hell out of here and don't come back. And we do. And our next stop is Wyoming because we need to go find our brother, Tommy. Because Tommy was with the Fireflies, and Joel thinks that Tommy might know where they're at. As we're driving, Ellie and Joel get time to bond a little. And this is actually one of the first times in the game where you see Joel just chill and almost in a good mood, I'd argue. But it's nice to see that, and when I was first playing this, I smiled because it's just good character bonding. And then Ellie pulls out a fun magazine. As we make it to Pittsburgh, the road is completely blocked with cars, so Joel has to take a detour. This detour is bad though, really bad. Joel knows what's happening because he's been on the other end of this. This is an ambush by hunters, and I'll explain who these hunters are a little bit later, but they are the main antagonists of this level. As they crash, two hunters pull Ellie out and Joel out. And now it's a fight for their lives, right? They are in such a terrible position, but thankfully Joel is unironically, I think he could probably beat Doomslayer in a fist fight. I really think he could. But no, we fight back, absolutely brutalizing that hunter. But then we hear Ellie scream, and we need Ellie alive, because if she dies, well, what's the point of all this anyways? And we absolutely demolish this man's face. Already you can tell this is a big group of hunters who are very elaborate. And this is a lot of foreshadowing of the future level, really. I mean, such a big group. Oh, holy whiff, I'm so sorry I showed this clip. We deal with him. After defeating those guys, because they absolutely suck and we're the best, we find a gruesome sight, and this is, again, a little bit of foreshadowing to see who these people really are. You see mutilated bodies on the tables of looted clothes and shoes, so they've been doing this for a while. It's very messed up, and actually a very messed up scene in this game, which is all about violence. This group is so big that the people we just fought was like a hunting pack. We have to fight through an entire library full of them now. I gotta say, this combat though is so fun. I wish, well, I'm glad in The Last of Us 2 there's like an arcade mode where it's just waves of fighting enemies. It's so addicting. The gunplay is so smooth. And if you didn't already catch on, I'm playing the remastered version of this game for the PS5, but I'm just playing it on a PC. We now have to make it through a hotel infested by these hunters. And this whole section I do guns blazing because it's just so fun shooting these guys. I just like to think I'm doing the world a favor doing this. But man, my favorite gun to use is this assault rifle. It's great. After defeating the hunters, we have to make it through an elevator shaft, but as you can see, there's a theme here. Joel is unlucky, and so we fall into the flooded waters below. Now we have to make our through the basement section, which is the most terrifying section in this game. We're in the basement, so we need to start the generator to unlock a door. But you'll see right now that this basement is actually infested with people suffering from the cordyceps virus. By that I mean just infected. This basement is crowded with infected. And the worst type of infected, the stalkers. Like I said before when explaining the stages, these guys, they stalk and hunt you, and they hunt in packs, and it's very frustrating, but they're also so creepy, man. It's almost like they have an intelligence, because they do hide. It's not like they're the runners, where they just run at you like idiots, and at least clickers are blind, and of course, because we suck, there's another bloater, and we have to deal with him. After escaping the basement, which thank God we did, playing that for the first time was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. We run into more hunters, and as you guys can probably already tell, these hunters own Pittsburgh, and I will explain who they are in just a little bit. As we're making it up a ladder, a lucky hunter gets the best of us and absolutely kicks us in the face, and now we gotta fight off, and this scene is so stressful. I have a fear of drowning, and let me tell you, man, I was smashing the hell out of this button. I was like, ain't no way this hunter's gonna top me, this little baby man. Trying to grab for the gun, but as you can see, we are losing terribly, sadly. And then, our hero, Ellie, shoots him. And it's important to note that this is Ellie's first ever human kill. This is the first time, at 14 years old, by the way, she has taken a life. And Joel is upset by it. He's like, oh, Ellie, why'd you do? I told you to stay back. Being very ungrateful and quite the douchebag to Ellie, who just saved his life. Finally, they escape the hotel, and they run into more of these hunters. And it's bad, man. It's another big group. It's a never-ending swarm of terrible people. But this moment is so sweet. Joel, after being grumpy and not trusting Ellie with a gun, he gives Ellie a rifle. And it was so cool seeing them bond and saying, Ellie, you got my back? And she is like, yeah. It's a great scene. And again, more of this bonding that really, it's starting to show that father-daughter aspect really well, I think. Of course, we're going to kill every single one of them because I hate them. They've killed so many innocent people. And I get that's ironic, as Joel has literally admitted to doing types of ambushes and being a bad person to survive. It's important to note, guys, Joel is not a good person, but we love him. He is our angel. But yeah, we fight through all of them, and we kill every single one of them. After demolishing them, we have to get down, and now we see the real threat of these hunters. They have a Humvee with a mounted machine gun on top of it. These guys are the real deal, executing this poor woman as she cries out for help. It's also important now that Ellie has a gun, and so she can help us even better in a fight. But yeah, no, this is bad, guys. After killing another group of them, which by the way, we annihilated them because Joel is just him. I think it's a good time to explain who these guys are. So these hunters, the people I've been calling hunters, were actually the civilians in the quarantine zone who fought back against Fedra. As we already know, Fedra is not good. As we already know, Fedra rations food, executes, and abuses these people. They had enough, so they attacked. They killed every single Fedra soldier they could. You can find notes in this level showing actually two stories, one of a hunter and one of a sergeant who's in Fedra. And you learn more about the war. And it wasn't even close. Fedra was outnumbered and was murdered, which was probably deserving because they are terrible. We now have to make our way through the streets of Pittsburgh, which is sadly patrolled by a Humvee. And I'm feeling like Nathan Drake right now, seeing as I wasn't hit, which defies, I'm pretty sure, everything. But, you know, we'll take the small wins. So yeah, this section is actually very stressful because not only is a Humvee chasing you, you're also chased by these hunters. So yeah, you got a lot to keep in mind, but we're Joel, so we dispatch of all of them. Important to mention that we're trying to get to a yellow bridge that gets us out of Pittsburgh and closer to Wyoming. Because again, our main goal is to get to Wyoming to find our brother Tommy, who we had a falling out with because Joel isn't the most pleasant person. But we know that Tommy worked with the Fireflies, and we're really badly trying to get to them. But before we could do that, we are jumped. But do not worry, these guys are actually chill. It may not seem like this, but this is Henry and Sam. They're brothers who are trying to also get to the Yellow Bridge. After making our peace with Henry, who is the older brother and Sam is the younger brother, we get to fight with them now. Well, actually, I do all the work, but it's the thought that counts. And it's also nice having more people with you. I actually really enjoyed this part with Henry and Sam. They're some of my favorite characters, and sadly they are underused. Thankfully, Henry has a safe spot for us to lay low for a little while. He killed a hunter and took a key from one of them. And it's a nice place to relax. And we cook up a plan to escape at night, because the people guarding the outside is a skeleton crew, as for what Henry says. There's still a lot of them, but there's less than during the day. So our plan is to strike at night. As the night starts, Sam, Henry, Ellie, and Joel make their way down to the streets, and we start with a stealthy approach. We started with the stealthy approach, but I got bored, so I pulled out my rifle that has the damage upgrade on it, which is a one-shot hit kill to everything, I believe. And we just mow them down. Miss a few shots, but it's the ones that hit that really matter. Eventually we beat them, we open the gate and lock it, and now we have to find a way to escape. As we're escaping, the Humvee appears and tries to break through the gate. Thankfully we get Ellie up, and hopefully they can get us up. Just kidding. Henry's like, oh, sorry, we gotta dip out. Which, frankly, I can't blame him. I mean, it would have been death for them if they stayed here, so I can't blame him. So now we gotta find another route. Thankfully, to the left of us, there was a gate that we opened, and we run into more hunters, but we get rid of them pretty easily. Oof. Oh my gosh, I'm whiffing my shots. Aim assist, please. But yeah. We get lucky, for the first time in this game, really. We find another route. But it's not over. They're pissed. I mean, we killed half their group. And so now, hopefully we can Nathan Drake it again and get the hell out of here. We are getting chased by a Humvee. Keep that in mind. We are getting chased by a Humvee. Sadly, though, we reach a dead end. But we decide to jump because it is better than whatever was going to happen up there. Although, it is important to note that Ellie can't swim, so this is just... Well, this was just not the smartest move. But we were really stuck. Like, we were in a bad spot. Thankfully, though, everything works out, because Sam and Henry found us. Joel is rightfully pissed because Henry left them to die, but eventually he can understand that he probably would have done the same thing. Found a sewer grate, so of course we opened it, and we make our way through inside. As we explore, we find a base. And this is really cool environmental storytelling. I think the idea of people building underground makes a lot of sense because there are so few exits. But you're going to see in a little bit that it didn't work out. We get jumped by infected, which is not a good sign to what happened to these people. But I'll actually break it down because I think it's some great environmental storytelling. Through this section you can find multiple notes, and it's sadly as simple as someone left the door open and infected got through, and that was it. Everyone died. Some escaped, which you can find a note later on, but yeah, it's very sad. Joel triggers a safety system, which a big metal door slams down, leaving Joel with Sam and Henry with Ellie. Now our main goal currently is to get back to them. As we make our through the rest of this underground base, we find the rest of the people who live down here. They've all turned, and as you can see, there are some clickers and stalkers, meaning they've been gone for months to years. And we have to fight them off. And this is another stressful section because the stalkers ambush you while the clickers will shred at your face. But I love the shotgun, and we get it done. And then we see Henry and Ellie. Thankfully, they're alive, but they're being chased by a group of infected. So we book it. As you can see, it doesn't seem like there's a lot, but one clicker will ruin your day. So we run for it. We have to make a final stand against the sewer camp people. And it's actually quite sad, because these people used to live down here happily. I mean, they had a school even. And one mistake costed them all. And so we gotta dispatch them. Don't worry though, because we're just the greatest. We're able to make it out. And man, I am so happy when I was playing this that we were done with the sewer section, because that clicker and stalker part scared the crap out of me. And of course, there's a little warning, infected inside, don't open. That's a shame that we didn't see that. But now, we have to make our way forward. We're this much closer to Wyoming. As we make our way through the suburbs, we find ourselves ambushed by a sniper. We thought we escaped the hunters, but in fact, we walked in to another group of them. So now we have to find our way to where the sniper is at and take him out. We have to run through the house trying to find the sniper. Eventually we get to the position and he jumps us. We have to smash the square button, or whatever button is for you, but we make quick work with him again. I mean, these guys fucking suck, and Joel is the best. We deal with him, and now we get to take control of the sniper, and we now have to provide overwatch for Sam, Ellie, and Henry. This is one of my favorite parts of the game. It's just so different to the others. It's just pure fun shooting and chaos. And the sniper, again, man, it's just so awesome. I don't know how it has infinite bullets, but we love it. So, we mow down these hunters one by one. Eventually, the Humvee shows up, though. I don't know how they were able to get this part, seeing as we had to go through the water as the bridge was destroyed, but that's fine. Who cares? And we're in a really bad situation now. Sam, Henry, and Ellie, they're being freaking gunned down by the Humvee, but we have to be patient and wait for the opening. As the Humvee pulls up, it seems to be really bad, but we get a lucky shot of a guy trying to throw a Molotov. We shoot him, and we destroy the Humvee, getting rid of another faction. I don't know how many people we've killed and how many groups we've destroyed, but it's been a lot. After that, it appears we're all in the clear until infected jump our people. Holy whiff, I can't believe I whiffed that. But yeah, I mean, big surprise, there's infected. They must have heard that. All the infected must have heard that. So now we gotta skedaddle. As the infected horde runs towards us, we have to make a swift escape, which we do, finding a broken fence, and we make it to the radio tower where we're able to relax for a little while. As the rest of the group relaxes into the night, we realize Sam has been bit. He was bit when he was jumped by the infected. An infected Sam jumps onto Ellie, attacking her. But of course Henry doesn't want Joel to shoot Sam. And this scene is so heartbreaking. I love Sam and Henry, but Henry takes out his little brother. Gosh, I was almost in tears playing this part. I mean, it's just a little kid, you know? Of course, Henry is now distraught and heartbroken. And sadly, he takes his life. Joel and Ellie make it to Jackson County, Wyoming. Now this is where Joel believes his brother is, just from the last time they spoke. Joel and Ellie have to make their way through a hydro energy plant. Sadly, it's occupied, but luckily for us, it's occupied with our brother and his new wife. This was so awesome to see Tommy again, because this was the first time we saw him since the prologue. And yeah, brothers meet. And it's important to note that they haven't met in years. They had a falling out because Tommy was absolutely disturbed by how Joel wanted to survive. Because as we know, Joel did anything to survive. Whether that be kill innocent people, or really do anything. As we walk through the hydro plant, Tommy hands us a photo of Sarah and Joel. And it's important to note that Joel can't forgive himself for what happened to his daughter. And Joel may seem all tough, but deep down, he still grieves for his daughter. And he holds a lot of self-hatred, I would imagine, for it. Now, why is Tommy and his group at the hydroelectric facility, or whatever you want to call it? It's because this is how they give power to the town of Jackson. The town that his wife Maria and her father started. Jackson is a place where families can live, rest, and just have the sense of normalcy again. Joel and Tommy find a private place to speak. Joel explains everything to Tommy, how Ellie is immune, and how Joel needs to get her to the Fireflies. But Joel, being a bit of a prick he wants to hand Ellie off to Tommy because he knows the Fireflies. He's cool with them. But, of course, Tommy is pissed, rightfully so. He started a new life. He has a community he's building. And in my opinion, this was completely unfair of Joel to ask. Guess what happens next, though? We are interrupted by people raiding the hydro facility. And I'm gonna just call these guys the gang, because they're the main antagonists of this level. And yeah, they break into this facility, and they start gunning our people down, so now we gotta return the favor by killing them, but it's also more importantly, we need to get to Ellie and Maria, who are eating. Finally, we get to Ellie and Maria, and thankfully, they are safe. They got incredibly lucky, I may add. Clearly, the gang are just really bad at shooting. But no, we get to them, and it's bittersweet. Tommy tells Maria the plan to get Ellie to the Fireflies. Tommy believes that they are still in Colorado, and Tommy, being the good brother he is, agrees to Joel, really, that he'll deliver Ellie, but Ellie catches on, and she is pissed, rightfully so, and it's almost a betrayal, really. Ellie takes one of the horses they had at the hydro facility, and runs away with them. I mean, she's a 14-year-old girl, she's been through so much, and now she's learning that the person she's been with for months is just abandoning her to a stranger. I mean, who can blame her? She's just a little girl. But we follow the tracks and we try to find her. But before we can find her, we run into the gang again. They're clearly set up in this forest region, but we gotta take them out as quick as possible because who knows what Ellie could be up to. Thankfully, Joel is him, and I'm kind of an insane shot. But yeah, we just decimate these bastards. We get to an old ranch and we see one of the horses from Jackson there, so we know Ellie is here. We find Ellie in a room reading some random girl's diary, and then it goes into a pretty intense conversation. She tells Joel how she feels. She feels safe with Joel, and Joel leaving her behind is being such a selfish prick, leaving a 14-year-old girl that he's been with, protecting, bonding with. And then Joel says to her that he's not her damn daddy. It's very upsetting, and it almost seems like the relationship won't get better. Joel changes his mind. He will take Ellie to the Fireflies. Tommy gives them a horse, and they make their way to Colorado. More specifically, the University of Colorado, where the Fireflies are believed to be set up in a big building that looks like a big mirror. The university is eerily quiet, especially for the Fireflies we know have guns and are big organizations, seeing as they've been all across America. And even worse, we find infected. And these are kind of pointed out to be Fireflies because we can find a note in the game that points to them having a huge infected problem. And it's not a good sign. Because the Fireflies are all about maintaining security, we have to find a way around a locked gate. And in order to do that, we have to fight through a bunch of clickers in a spore-riddled area. And now I just want to say, the environmental storytelling of this is so cool. And sad, actually. It's mainly more sad. These clickers and bloaters are actually university students. Because the university students had to stay in quarantine here. And you can find notes of them writing to themselves, saying they miss their families and that they've been abandoned by the military. So just think about it. These people have been down here for 20 years, rotting away. They never got to see their families again. They were abandoned. But we put them to rest now. Having opened the gates, we make our way to the mirror building. That's what I call it. And it's pretty grim. There are no Fireflies here, and clearly they left in a rush. So now we gotta do some investigation. As we explore the university, we come across some monkeys. And this is important. These monkeys actually have the cordyceps virus. And the Firefly researchers were researching them to see how the virus works, or rather, the fungus works. And how they could maybe reverse the virus into a vaccine. We push our way into a barricaded room where we find a voice recorder. And a body. Well, skeletal remains, really. That skeleton was a scientist. He was bit by a monkey. And the monkeys, as we know, had the cordyceps brain infection. And so, of course, it was transmitted to him through the bite. And he did not want to become a runner, or an infected for just that matter. So he passed away. And we find out through the voice recorder that the rest of them all packed up and headed to St. Mary's Hospital in Salt Lake City. But before they can leave the university, they're jumped by some hunters. Of course we are, because we can have nothing nice in this world. And so we have to take them out. As we're trying to escape, Joel gets jumped by one of these hunters, and he pushes us off. Joel gets absolutely obliterated and impaled. Well, better than the guy who pushed him off, because he is dead. And it's bad, man. Ellie climbs down and has to help us. As we're bleeding out and dying very slowly, we get jumped by even more of these hunters. and we have to help Ellie fight them off. And this section is actually very, very cool. Like this little part, it's pretty intense as well, man. This game is just a masterpiece. So we tell Ellie to flank him, and then, because I guess he's an idiot, we're able to get the upper hand on him once Ellie shoots at him. There we go. Plays a headshot. Perfect. We collapse again because we were impaled, and Ellie steps up being an absolute badass. Just imagine what Joel's going through right now. He was impaled and he's slowly dying, and he's still trying to protect Ellie. And seeing grown-ass men trying to take down Ellie must have been absolutely terrifying. We get to our amazing horse who's still out there chilling, and we ride off. As we make distance, Joel collapses off the horse, bleeding out heavily. Ellie is an absolute just carry and saves us. Well, at least tries to save us. It's now winter time, and all of our plans have been put on hold because we need to help Joel survive. As you can see, we're Ellie, and we're hunting down food. Also, this is, I know I've said this a lot, but this is one of my favorite parts of the game because I think it's just such a nice change from playing as a big brute to more of a smaller character. So the combat changes up quite immensely. So it's just a nice change of pace. We have to track the deer we shot, and we just follow its blood trail into this old sawmill factory, I'm pretty sure. And we find it. Then we're surprised by two strangers.
What do you want?
Who at first seem very peaceful, actually.
Here's my friend James.
The man with the rifle is named David.
From a larger group.
Seeing him again.
Women.
But yeah,
children.
they just say their
All
people
very,
are
very
hungry and they need the food. So we
So am I. Women
crack
and
them a
children,
deal.
all very
If
hungry
they have
too.
medicine, they can have the deer.
Maybe we could.
And so David sends his
trade you for
boy
some of that
to
meat
go
there.
get that while we
What do you
wait. As we're waiting for David's friend, we're jumped by a horde of infected. They must have smelt the blood, and or they were just walking through as a horde, because we know from The Last of Us 2 that the infected migrate, so we probably caught them in one of their migration paths, which is pretty terrifying to think. And so now we have to fight them off. Thankfully David is here to help us. Ellie and David have to abandon the shack they're in because there's just an overwhelming amount of infected. So now we gotta make our way through even more of the sawmill. And this section is so eerie. Ellie seems to have the same shit luck as Joel, and the floor under her collapses. And so now we're all alone, but because Ellie is just her, we have to fight off a shit ton of clickers because they have now breached the sawmill. Ellie eventually links up with David, and now we gotta fight off the horde again, because they seem to have found themselves on the roof. And this section is actually very stressful, because it is very easy to die, because it's a very crowded area. Now, these first infected are very easy to take out, but eventually, well right now actually, they climb through these windows. So now we have to watch our right and our left, and deal with them. Thankfully though, there's a mechanic in this game which David has, and he actually can ping out the enemies. So that's very helpful in this moment. But again, I suggest just using the bombs and the rifle if you have ammo for it, because the infected drop a crap ton of it in this section. After killing a bunch of infected, of course a bloater just comes out of nowhere, and now we have to deal with this bastard. And I don't have my M16, so I'm kind of panicking now, because that assault rifle is very good at taking out. But using the bomb and then a couple rifle shots, it's easy work. So yeah, we deal with the bloater, and we make it back to the deer and get her medicine. After returning to Joel and helping him, because he's still in a deep sleep from his injury, we have to try to sneak away and direct these bandits away. And actually, these bandits are part of David's group. That's right. David has sent out his men to look for us, but that's not even the end of it. David's group were the same people who were in Colorado, the University of Colorado, who Joel and Ellie butchered. So that adds an extra kind of sense of just, holy, this world is small, and we have pissed off another big group of enemies. So we just gotta try to ride out these bad guys. Sadly, as we were riding, our horse gets shot and killed, and now Ellie has to try to fight off these guys on foot. This section is also incredibly hard because Ellie is just so weak, like health-wise, and which makes sense. She's a little girl, but also none of our upgrades that we did to Joel carries over to her. So yeah, we gotta try to fight him off. But this again is another fun section at the same time because it's just the gunplay in this game is just amazing. So again, if you haven't played this game, please try it. I'm not doing it justice. After dealing with more of David's hunters, we make it to this big chalet where again, David's men are set up, and thankfully we have this rifle and we deal with them. Thank God, we finally made it to the exit of the chalet and we have to fight our way through. Never mind, just kidding. David is here, the little fucking freak, and we try to take him out with our knife, but he knocks us out and kidnaps us. We wake up in a makeshift cell, and we see someone butchering a human. And from now on, I will be calling these guys the cannibals, because David's group are cannibals. They kill people, and they eat them. Because of, I'm assuming there is a food shortage during the winter time. And probably just in general. So this is what they do. And this is bad. Really bad. And it was shocking when I first saw this because, I mean, this game was already, like, grotesque and disgusting with, like, you know, the fungal monsters. But seeing a human butcher another human is just so wrong. Then David comes up here and he's like, "Here's some food, darling." "Yes, I'm, totally not creepy." And he tells us it's deer, and Ellie, honestly being naive to me, she eats it, but, you know, can't blame her. If you're hungry, you're hungry. Eventually we find out that David is a creep, and he wants Ellie to be his girl. And you can imagine what that means. I will not go into details, but he is a predator. David is a predator, and Ellie plays into his little creepo thing and breaks his finger, deservingly. And now Ellie has, well, in his words, Ellie will be turned into food. Joel wakes up, dazed and confused, of course, and is immediately wondering where the hell Ellie is at, because by this time in the game, they spent almost a whole year together, and he loves the girl like his daughter. And we'll see more of that in a bit. But yeah, Joel, like the badass he is, he grips his side and moves forward. But also gotta props to Ellie. I mean, what an absolute Chad Ellie is. Fixing up his wound. And a cool little detail, you actually see his jacket with blood like stained onto it, and the back of his jean there, which I thought was just a cool little detail. And so now we gotta find her. As we walk through the town, we run into the cannibals again. They're looking out for Joel because they know that at the University of Colorado there was 2 of them, and they're pissed, of course, because we killed a lot of their friends. And so you kind of have 2 narratives going on. They were looking for a girl, for some reason. David didn't tell them, because David is the leader. But they're also hunting down Joel, because Joel killed their friends. We continue forward and get ambushed by 2 of them, where we get into this fight section. Keep in mind, Joel is still recovering from being impaled, but he whoops their asses because, again, Joel is him and Joel is so cool. So now our plan is to interrogate them and get the location of where Ellie is, because it's no coincidence. After the interrogation scene, we jump back to Ellie, who is now being, well, prepared to become meat. And as you can see there, she bit David, which becomes important in just a moment. So I'm going to let this clip run out. And David is like, "Oh, you broke my finger, I'm angry at you." And then Ellie, right here, says she's infected. Which is really important for her survival right now. and not getting chopped up. And she points David to where the bite is, and David, being the good boy he is, sees it, and he is dumbfounded. He's like, "Oh my gosh, how can I do this?" But I'm rooting for this because I want David to die very badly because he's a predator and a cannibal. But then Ellie strikes, seeing a moment to escape, kills that douchebag. He bleeds out, and now we run for it. Ellie now has to run through this town alone, which is covered with these cannibals who are patrolling everywhere, and we need to fight them off. During this part, I always have in the back of my mind that Ellie is a 14-year-old girl being put through all this. I couldn't imagine being this young and being thrown into a place like this. And I get it that it's a video game, but still, I think it's a good video game when these emotions and these feelings and these thoughts are brought up in my mind. Truly, it's a great game. We make it into this diner, and it's just a nice change of pace. It's a really nice change of scenery, too. It was quite dreaded out there. Just kidding. Our friend David is here, and he is probably gonna kill us. But thankfully, he knocks over 2 lanterns that start a fire. And now, we gotta take him out the old-fashioned way, with our knife. To take out David, you need to sneak up behind him and knife him, because if you don't, he'll just shoot you in the face. And so you have to use like bottles and bricks that are around to distract him. This part is terrifying though. When he pulls out the machete, it feels like Jason Voorhees is after me. And not a cool Jason Voorhees. This one's a predator, and he eats people. After a few knife attacks, we finally sneak up on David again, and this time we plant it really good into his shoulder. But he throws us down and knocks us out, but he is also down, which is nice. And then we jump back to Joel, who is now in the town looking for us. We pull up to the town and we face more of these cannibals. We take them out pretty swiftly, because I gotta get to Ellie. And during this part, it's very suspenseful because I know what's happening to Ellie, so I just speed past them and absolutely clock this guy. We find ourselves in the back of a butcher shop and we find Ellie's bag, which is a bad sign. And even worse, Joel finds these hanging bodies, and Joel can kind of put 2 and 2 together and find out that these guys are not good at the very least. And this part was so gross to see those bodies hanging. Again, another shocking moment. Now we see the restaurant on fire. We wake up as Ellie, but sadly David wakes up, and now our goal is to make it to that machete. So now we have to crawl. But during this scene, you hear David move behind you, and it is so freaky and terrifying, and really any word you want to use for scary, because we know what David is capable of, and we know what he wants to do to us. But sadly, he gets up because he's a grown-ass man, and we're a 14-year-old girl. And he starts taunting us and just berating us. He is probably the most despicable character in this entire game, honestly. Maybe in the Last of Us universe too, actually. And he just beats the hell out of us. But it's not over yet. Ellie does not give up hope, because Ellie is just an absolute badass. And he starts choking us. It's very sick, actually, him choking us out, to want to watch us suffer. But we're able to get the machete, and we chop the hell out of him. And as we do it, blood flies and you hear Ellie crying, and then Joel comes up to us. It's now spring and they've made it to Salt Lake City. And I think it's important to add that Joel's relationship towards Ellie has completely changed, to where at this point in the game you can tell that Joel sees Ellie as his daughter. Joel cares for her so much, And during the last scene where she was being held by Joel, he was calling her baby girl, and it was very sweet and something a dad would do to try to calm down their kid who just suffered traumatically. But also, Ellie's mood has changed completely. You can tell she is sad and depressed. I mean, think of what she's been through. She was almost, SA'd. She killed so many people, and even though they were bad people, they were still human beings. I couldn't imagine how she feels. And also, it seems to be the end of their journey. They finally made it to Salt Lake City. This is where all this hard work has gone to. Can she save the world with her immunity? As they make it to the bus station, Ellie runs because she seems to have saw something glorious. And in fact, it was glorious. It was a frickin' giraffe. And this scene is so beautiful because you see more of Ellie and Joel bonding. But it's also nice to see Ellie smile and laugh because we know what she's been through. It's very heartwarming. As we're walking through an abandoned quarantine zone, Ellie says that she stole something from Tommy. And we're like, of course. Let's see what it is. Is it a gun? No, it was the photo of Joel and Sarah. And at this point in the game, he finally accepts the loss of Sarah and says he can't hide from it, he can't run from it anymore. And it's very wonderful character development. We find ourselves in a tunnel that is slowly collapsing. And in this tunnel, we have been graciously gifted with a shit ton of infected clickers, runners, and bloaters, who of course we make quick work of. And man, I love the melee combat almost more than the shooty combat. It's just so brutal and gory. And fuck this clicker, he gets it too. Because we have to make our way through the tunnels, which are flooded, which is just phenomenal, we have to jump on this bus that is like a makeshift bridge. But of course, it doesn't work out. Joel should know by now he has the worst luck ever. I genuinely think there is a higher power that is out to get him. And we have to struggle our way to get out of this bus that is full of water. And as someone who is scared of drowning, like that's my biggest fear, this is absolutely horrifying. Ellie, being an amazing friend, tries to jump on the bus to help us out, but the bus collapses and turns over, and now we have to swim to get Ellie. And remember, she can't swim, but I don't think that would have helped because clearly she was knocked out. We pull her out of the water and we can tell that she's not breathing, so we try to resuscitate her. And then some familiar faces show up. It's the Fireflies. The stream took us right outside St. Mary's Hospital, which we know where the Fireflies are set up at. And now we come face to face with Marlene. And she has some bad news to tell us. Well, good news for mankind. I'll go over that a little bit later, but Ellie is now in the operating room, and the operation will kill her because the Corsus virus is stuck inside her brain. It just hasn't moved. It's been stuck, almost dormant is the way I'd put it. And so the doctors need to cut open her brain and get it out. Get out the samples of the virus that's not infecting her. And Marlene respectfully tells us this, which she didn't have to, but she did. And Joel is furious because he believes, well, he says that Ellie should have a choice, but deep down, he can't lose another daughter. With this information, we can't leave the hospital. We're only leaving with Ellie because Joel loves her. And so we interrogate the Firefly quite quickly because we don't have the patience, and he tells us where she's at. And so now we have to fight through a hospital full of heavily armed men to save Ellie, the girl that Joel loves, as his own. I want to leave this section in because I think this is some of the best fighting in the game, just a close quarters, high octane combat. But I'll want some time to tell you guys what I think about Joel's actions. It was selfish, of course. Joel is a selfish person. I mean, he's killed all these people who are trying to fight for mankind. That being said, if they ever developed a vaccine, do you really think it was going to work for them? Like, truly. How would they get it out to the world? You know? They can barely stay alive themselves. If they had this vaccine, how would they be able to save humanity? Because humanity itself doesn't want to survive. And it's proof just by David's group who are cannibals. Proof by the hunters. You know, it's proof by people escaping Fedra because Fedra are a bunch of psychopaths with AK-47s, you know? So, truthfully, I really don't think the Fireflies would have, even if they made a vaccine, would have saved the world. It would have been unrealistic. So honestly, I think Joel doing this only affected these Fireflies and their families. Because I am confident that even if they made a vaccine, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. And I'm curious if you guys have the same or different opinion down below. Joel has to fight through one last big group of Fireflies to get to where Ellie's at in the surgery room where she's being prepped for surgery. And I used my rifle because with the damage upgrade, it's an insta-kill to their headshot because their helmets typically block one bullet, but with the upgrade to the damage, it instantly kills them. We make it to the infamous red door and we see silhouettes of people. These are the doctors and nurses who are about to operate on Ellie. And Joel, filled with rage and anger, without thinking, immediately disarms the surgeon and stabs him in the neck, killing him. We see Ellie in the operating room and it's quite surreal seeing her like this. The cure to humanity right here. Joel runs as fast as he can, carrying Ellie to the elevator, trying to escape the Fireflies, which he successfully does because we have plot armor, and we're just him. As we make it down to the ground floor, Marlene pops out with her gun pointed at us, saying it's not too late. You can still save humanity, Joel. This isn't about you. You're being selfish. And she's right. Joel is inherently selfish, and we've seen that all game. I mean, we've seen the way he butchers people. We see Joel leaving the hospital with Ellie as she wakes up because she was put under for the surgery, of course. And we see what happened to Marlene. We shot her. After she put down her gun, Joel shot her. But we can't leave any loose ends, and so we go back up to her as she begs for her life, and we kill her. Finally, we're back in Wyoming, and we're now as Ellie, which is kind of foreshadowing the future game where we play as Ellie. And this part is just walking through a nice trail with Joel. As we're walking by the waterfall, we see Jackson, a big, beautiful town. Our home now. The final scene of this amazing game. Ellie asks Joel if he told the truth, and that he will tell the truth. All Ellie ever wanted was to help people. She wanted to be something in this world. And this was her chance. Her being immune was the chance. But Joel told her that there were others like her. And Ellie believes Joel, but she just wants Joel to be truthful with her. And that's... Hey guys, it's Mr.Stinkler again, and I just wanted to thank you for watching, especially if you made it this far. That means a lot to me. I hope I helped you get through your day. You know, whether this video was just for background noise or to learn more about the story. I hope I was able to help out. I have future videos planned already, and I hope I can be just someone who can entertain y'all. Again, thank you for watching. Bye. The end of the game.